what was the biggest failure in your life so far? Um, what did you learn from it? How did you overcome it? And have you grown from it?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to
Yeah, I'll clap again. Yarhamakallah. Yarhamakallah. I
Say
always,
yarhamakallah or yarhamakumullah.
I'm not sure. Correct me.
Yarhamakallah.
Yarhamakallah.
Yarhamakallah. Yeah. Okay. Yarhamakallah.
You know, I always used to be confused and just say Alhamdulillah. But that's when you seize yourself, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you were talking about the Palestine, what's going on. I have trouble, like, I notice a lot of people aren't even knowledgeable about what's going on. And that's why they don't pick a side, which is, respectable. Because if you don't know what's going on, how can you pick a side? Even though there's only one side we know. Um, and then I also noticed that people that show up to the protest, that's great. They're there to support, but they don't even aren't educating themselves, including myself. Like, I think I need to do some more education. The way I explained it to somebody who I was talking to recently was, imagine somebody came in your home, R-worded your mother and your sister, killed them, blew up your home, left you with nothing. How would you feel? What would you do? That's kind of how I explained it to them. How would you explain the Palestine situation to somebody who's uneducated? I'll go with yourself first.
Um, I think the simplest way to explain it is a conflict that truly is political, wrapped in religious rhetoric and cultural rhetoric. Right. I think what's going on is something that we've seen time and time again. There's one group that seeks to make some type of claim to a land that's already occupied by a certain group of people. They have to do everything in their power to dehumanize these people, to make these people seem as though they're not worth living on that land or making claim to that land. And then after that, they take an offensive action, often aggressive action, to remove these people from the land. And it's something that we've seen on many different scales at many different points in history. So I don't think it's anything new. All of the rhetoric around it being a religious conflict or a cultural this and that and the third is just meant to misdirect people or confuse people from what's really going on. So for someone who's not like involved, who doesn't know much, I would say, hey, listen, there's some people who lived on the land, there's some other people who want the land, and they're doing everything in their power to take the land from these people. Is that right or not? Right? And
How would you go about educate, like, what resources, like?
So I mean, I listen to Democracy Now as my main news source. I think it's been consistent for me over the years. I've been listening to it for like 3 or 4 years. Amy Goodman and the team do a good job. So that's one place to just get updates on what's going on the ground. They do a good job of sifting through fake news and real news to bring the best stories for their audience. It's only like 15 minutes a day, right? You can do it on a drive. The second resource I would say to use would be some of the major influencers or people who've taken their platform to speak and share things. They're on the ground, and I think firsthand experience is the best. So listening to people who are living it is probably the second source. So leveraging social media, right, not to go on and doom scroll, but to actually go on and follow some people who are posting things that are relevant, listen to their story, see what they're talking about, and make that what you're talking about too, right, to extend their voice. So that'll be my two suggestions.
Uh, Shmarimo, Muhammad Ajazi. How do you go about, educating people who are not aware of the situation?
That is a good question, and I would say I don't know because it really depends on the person. Some people don't want to be educated, and it's a very emotional topic to bring up. So, really just depends. If someone wants to know about it, I'll tell them what I know, which is just the very simple stuff, right? I feel like that's enough. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty, I would just recommend asking someone who actually has family there. I don't watch news anymore, so I just wish everyone the best. And when I hear about something, I asked a few of my friends who have family who came from there, and that's my news. So to your point, I think that's the best. That's the best source is people on the ground.
Yeah, because I noticed on social media you're getting, or if you're searching on the internet, you're getting what's your opinion, confirmation bias. So I'm assuming the people who are supporting Israel, that's all they're getting on their feed. So they're not seeing, the other side of the Palestinians. So they might see, like, Hamas killing people or
Propaganda stuff.
propaganda, like, but
I think it's our job too to understand what they're seeing, so we can have conversations that are like holistic. I don't want to negate anybody's experience in terms of what they've seen and the evidence that they've seen, and just whatever news sources they have, whatever information source they have, like that's what they were given. Just like I was born into a culture, customs, whatever. Like you have what you have. So I won't negate where you start, but what you do with the information you get is what I think is important. And so I purposefully follow pages that are like pro or and whatever you need to bleep out, right? Pro IDF or IOF, pro like anything that's like. I follow the State of Israel page on Instagram. I think it's literally State of Israel. Like I follow just to see what the rhetoric is, so that I understand what they're being fed, so that I can communicate from a perspective of understanding, right? Because I don't want to just argue with some guy on the street what I feel versus what you feel. Like I know that this is what they've said to you, but this is not true because of such and such and such. And now you tell me why you can defend that this is true, right? And then we have a conversation. But I think we got to be able to do that and still acknowledge that we're people. So we still have an emotional like interest in this. Like we're still going to be upset about things, and like that makes sense, especially when people are getting killed for no reason, for no good reason for us. All right. But I still feel like for somebody who doesn't know anything, to have the conversation has to be connected first to something that they already care about, right? So like what do they care about that you could turn the conversation into something bigger to help them connect it to the Palestine issue, right? It's like what do they call it, degrees of separation, like how close or far you are from something or someone. They say everybody's like 6 degrees of separation, 7 from Obama. Like you're so close to the person that you think is so far away, if only you tapped into your network. So it's like same thing with ideas, right? They live near each other, so like find the one that leads them to that bigger thing.
I have a family member, won't say who. Her father is a very renowned businessman, millionaire, and she got on a call like 6 years ago with Joe Biden. Not like like business like meeting call, but she was like,
They were on the same call.
he was saying because she was a fan of, I don't know why she was a fan of Joe Biden, but at the time she was, I don't know if she still is, but
Okay.
and she got on a call with him. So that's funny you say that. Like we think we're so far away from these people, but like I see it all the time in the messages, like in the Gaza Charlotte group chat, is like, call these senators today. So it's like we're. So my question, bringing it back to you, Hijazi, is what can we do as like as young men? There's protests. There's we can talk about it online. What can we do? What are you doing to like make people aware of the issue going on in Palestine? Like,
I think we touched on this in our last episode, and I would say just listen to people, because my family is not affected by it, but giving someone that space, telling me what's actually happening, I feel like that goes a long way in making them feel heard. And then as far as spreading the message, attending, learning more, I feel like that's the best we can do, because I know, at least from my knowledge, donations aren't going in.
stopping aid.
Yeah. So money's not going in. So all you can really do is, it's just information war. That's all it is. That's all we have the power to do in our situation right now. It's not the pretty answer, but it just, sometimes you can't do as much as you'd like.
Yeah.
So I'd say just listen and learn.
Yeah. I've been watching videos. This guy interviews people on the street, and he just flat out asked them Israel, Palestine. And a lot of people don't want to say it. And then when they will say, Israel or Palestine, they won't know why. So that's why I think education is important.
I think that you
Yeah.
have to give credit. I don't know if I'm supposed to take it from you, so I've been letting you.
If
hold
you
it.
want to, I mean, it could still pick you up. But
Okay,
if you
good. I just don't want to. I know I'm gonna touch something and then everything is broken.
Alright.
So I'm not doing it.
if you want to make sure it's recording, just tap it.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'll take it then. Bismillah. Listen, guys, I told him already. Bismillah. So I think that we can give credit too, and we can learn when we're bested, right? As a people, as a human beings, we can learn when somebody has done something that we can learn from, we can improve by doing. So like copying is important, and I think a thing that we have to give credit to the Israeli side or the Zionist side for is leveraging power, right, in the form of media, in the form of finances, and directing those finances very intentionally at lobbying for things that they want, right? And so they've been able to control the narrative because they've been very intentional and very focused for a long time prior to this big incident that has exposed the level of work that they put in, right? Like we didn't realize how many politicians, how many celebrities, how many influencers, and what you said made me think about this. Saying like my family's not direct affected, like maybe not directly, but you can see the spheres of influence when things start to ripple, right? You see how many levels of control or how deep their reach is in terms of influencing people to the point to where the common public is scared to say, I'm against killing kids for no reason, right? Because they're scared that some big boogeyman with a Z on his chest is gonna come out and say like you're banned from life or something. Like, what's your fear? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see, like, but they've manifested the punishment or the consequence in their own head. Like, nobody came up to them and said, if you do this, this will happen to you. But with intentional planning and like investment of people, energy, resources for a long time, this can happen. Right? Somebody can control the public narrative to the point where somebody who doesn't even know why they feel some type of way about something still is scared to like take one side or the other or say, and it's not because of ignorance always, right? Sometimes it's because they feel like if I say the wrong thing, will I be canceled, right? Will I face some type of social backlash? So I mean, I think that's credit to the Super Z chess side, and I think that's something we can learn from, being very intentional moving forward about creating the narrative and painting the narrative and pushing the narrative that we want to be dominant. Because if you just leave it to public opinion, obviously somebody else is going to come and give a false narrative, and then you're battling that is what you're using your energy for. So, I mean, it's a learning moment for all of us. I just wanted to say that. I think that's important.
Yeah, and like with the kid, like seeing a kid's head blown off is just that shook me for days, weeks, and I'm still. And it's kind of crazy. Like you'll see somebody's story, they'll have that video, and then the next video post is like them smiling at like getting ice cream, and I'm like, bro, like it just messes with your head. Like, what kind of world are we living in? But then I was on social media. I saw this post where the guy talks about Quran verse says, "Verily, the human beings were created into into hardship." So I try to think about that and how it's all just a test from Allah. Like the Imam was talking about it today in the khutbah, that we see these kids who their lives are just destroyed and they're smiling. They're saying we still have faith in Allah. We know where we're going in the end. So I try to think about that even in my own life when I'm going through things, like painful times, and just kind of switching the topic a little bit, but still relevant. If you look back at the last 10 years of your life, it's almost like a movie. Like it's like no director, no writer can create that movie. It's God wrote that movie. And it's the greatest movie. And you can go up to any single person, and if you look back at the last 10 years of their life, it's an exciting movie. So what part of that, I'm going to go with Hijazi first. What part of your movie so far has been the greatest? There's yet more to come, inshallah, but what part has been the greatest?
I like that question, bro. Becoming Shmoney Mo was the best part of the last 10 years. I mean, I'm only 23. So that's basically half my life. But I'd say being Shmoney Mo, expressing myself, getting comfortable expressing myself, even when people didn't want to listen. Or, I mean, I've been on a stage and nobody was interested before. So you have to grapple with a lot of things being a creator, which I'm sure you've experienced. But also the aspect of getting up on a stage and organizing an event and investing so much of your time and energy, that really, I think it toughened my skin a lot. And also growing up in Charlotte, going to school with every race, religion, body shape, ethnicity, getting bullied, I think was a great thing. So I'd say I built a lot of character through growing up in a city and then also being a creator of art. And that's been the best part of my journey. It taught me a lot of skills, and we're going to use those skills to build something incredible in the future, inshallah.
I'm going to say this before I send it to you. Bullying builds character.
I wasn't gonna say nothing on it. I was like, man, that's a whole nother that's a whole nother episode, that's a whole nother discussion. I am of the opinion though that bullying does build character, so I'm also on that side. So the question is, what has been the greatest moment in this 10-year movie?
Yes, the past 10 years.
How
old are you?
27. Yeah, I turned 27 a few months ago. And that's hard, man. Like you said, I don't really know. I don't want to offend nobody because there's been a lot of people that's been a part of a lot of those moments in the last 10 years. Probably finding my own voice in college, I would say, like that college to life transition. Because COVID was kicking off right when I graduated college. I was coming out like of having some type of responsibility in college, like leadership role in organizations and stuff, but like not really like firsthand in the world. I'm trying to find my way experience without, mom and dad in the background and all this. Like that was new. I think that period was a molding period because I realized how much community meant to me. I realized like a lot of my core values, and I started to try to build my life around those things. And that's kind of led everything else that's happened after that. Like where I spent most of my time, what I was doing, the people I encountered in those places, how that grew into opportunities. Like, so I feel like for me that was formative, man. And that was kind of just me. That was right before I met my wife. It was like me and who am I? What am I doing? What can I do? What am I interested in? Like all those questions. Like that time was tough. I would probably say that was like maybe ages. I think I graduated at 22, so probably like 22 to 24.
It's us.
Yeah, 22 to 20.
You're 27.
About to be 27.
Oh
That's
my
hilarious.
God. You're older than him.
Older than, yeah.
No, he said he's about to be 27.
Yeah, it's about to be.
I am 27, so I'm
Same,
older.
you go.
Yeah, we're almost, yeah.
Why did I think you were my age?
I'm skinny, bro. I look.
Nah, that's not even it. It's your aura, bro.
Aura, it's the aura. We're just talking about that.
That's funny. I mean, it's real, though. People, I think that's again, we got like 15 different topics we could talk about.
Wow.
Energy is real, bro.
Yeah.
Your youthful energy, that's real.
I thought you were 23 like me, bro.
He is, though. And
Yeah.
his energy is 23. That's why.
A big a big thing right now online is like even just before online, like just in general in society is with men is attracting women, right? That's like the biggest like lust. Lust, trying to find a wife outside of lust,
They say we good, baby. No haram. Alhamdulillah.
bro, Allah, yeah, mashallah, bro. Do you say Allahumma barik if someone's married?
I don't say it. I mean, I say mashallah.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't roll off the tongue for me. Like,
Okay,
Allah
yeah.
Barak is kind of heavy.
Yeah,
Barakallah feek.
That's better, but it's still like, for me, that's naturally I would say congratulations or may Allah bless you or like,
bro.
some
I
phrase
kind of, I
that
must
I use.
admit this. I don't know if the guy's watching this. I'm not gonna say his name, but he got married, and I saw him, and I said the wrong thing. I said, "Bro, you got married, alhamdulillah." And then when
I said the wrong thing.
because it's like thank God you got married.
like,
No, no, no.
finally.
yeah.
Alhamdulillah, a praise God.
That's true, but if
Yeah.
you come across as finally to the person, if you like, man, okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm glad
didn't
I'm
think you
He's
would.
thinking the same thing.
He probably might be. But
I mean, he kind of looked at me weird too, so I was like,
it's funny.
Ah,
It's okay, bro.
I don't think that's
yeah,
bad.
my intention wasn't bad.
Yeah,
It fits, but I
Yeah.
can see what you're saying. Like, it fits.
God bless.
I said,
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, for me, it's just the Arabic is what I'm saying. Like, it's more so like saying Allahumma barak is not. I don't feel like I'm not an Arabic speaker, so I don't like it doesn't come naturally to me to say like I have to
Say God bless.
right. Like something like this. Like I say, may God bless you guys.
Same thing.
Allah guide you, man. I'll give. I'll make dua for that person.
Yeah.
And wish well, but it won't be like always the Arabic phrase that's pre-rehearsed and stored to shoot out. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like I don't do it like that.
Well, I was gonna talk about just the whole like online thing, red pill, and then guys just being obsessed with what women desire. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that you shouldn't be worried, especially in Islam. You shouldn't be worried too much about what women desire. You should be worried about what Allah wants out of you, because then naturally someone will come into your life that is not like just desires you for the person you should be, not the person you're playing games, doing all this, spinning plates, talking to different girls, like, that's a whole thing. But like, what's your thoughts on that? Do we conform and do what women want? Like, I had something written down. Sorry, I'm just rambling. Like, naturally, what red pill preaches is, what red pill preaches is, women want is recording. Yep. What women want is like a strong, dominant man. He's fit. He has his finances in order. And naturally, you want a submissive woman. But these are things that are already in Islam. This is how you should already be if you're following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So I don't think we should put too much emphasis on, like the red pill or, trying to appease to women. Just be the best guy you can be. And naturally it'll come. I'm going to go with Ajazi first. What's your thoughts on that?
Islam pill.
Islam pill.
Well, I don't have any experience with marriage, obviously. I always see like these memes. It's like you put any group of Muslim guys together. It could be two guys, and they'll start talking about money and marriage. Always, because I mean, it's just biologically coded into us. Like make life, have a partner, have a kid. That's just our biology. So it's not a bad thing to admit that, hey, you know, I want a partner. I do care. I do care what a girl thinks about me. Like as far as like you want to show your best face. Like my mom would tell me like, hey, make sure you present your best self. Make sure you're smelling good. You dress up good. You know, we go to the gym and make money, for all being honest. Why is it? Yes, for ourselves, but because you want to be suitable for a mate. So there's nothing wrong with admitting, like, I care about what girls think. I do. If I didn't, then I'd probably just be at home eating potato chips off my belly button and just never leave the house and, like, make just enough money to just bum it at my parents' crib for the rest of my life. So that's the first thing. We just gotta be honest.
Right.
And that's fine. And then second thought is that I have to get my life together before I can have a life with someone else. So that's where I'm at right now.
What do you think from the guy that's married?
Oh, man. Okay. So just to make sure I understand the question again, the question is, should we be concerned with what women think of us, or should we do things the way that women want us to do them? Which is more the question.
Like, should we do what we're told women desire to just to be to them, or do we just?
So should we be doing what we think women want us to do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's a different question.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Yeah, because I had to clarify, because I'm like, okay, I need to know what I'm responding to. And you can answer again if you want. I mean, no pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we be conforming to what society tells us that women would like us to do, or who society says that women would like us to be? I think that it's twofold. I mean, this is a yes or no question, right? So generally the answer could be yes or no, depending on who you talk to. But I think the answer is a little bit... I'll break it into two parts. One is what you expect of yourself, and the other is what those who you care about expect of you. And I think that if those who you care about are women and they have expectations of you that you want to live up to, then you should do that, right? Because those are the people that you care about. And if you have those expectations of yourself, then you should live up to them, because it's you, right? It's just like trying to be disciplined with anything. Like if you're going to achieve it, you're going to hold yourself accountable, and the people who care about you achieving it are going to hold you accountable. Nobody else matters in that. So for me, it's more about who you care about and what they think, and then what you yourself think, right? And then making sure that you're living by those principles. And if what you're hearing that women want is a good thing that you can get behind, and get behind it. Like it doesn't matter that it came from them. Like it's a good thing. Get behind it. If they say they want a guy that's fit, it's because they want somebody that can play with their kids when he's 50. You know what I'm saying? Not be like hunched over in a wheelchair or not there because he died of a heart attack at 47. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just their desire. They just articulated it in a very like crass way or a simple way, right? They just said like, oh, we want a guy with abs. But like, it's not about the abs, right? It's about the longevity, fitness, doing things together, like all this stuff.
Like, I want a dad bod because he's cozy.
I think this. I mean, I'm not going to listen. I can see that I'm aging out of popular opinion, and I'm telling you, brothers, it's a weird experience. You going through it, probably you coming up on it, but it's certain things that you just like. Why do the kids on social media think like this? And once you start saying the kids on social media, you know where you going. But right, exactly right. But I mean, I think whatever these new weird like, I'm going to rebel against whatever the conformities are because I just want to rebel. I think that's where that belongs. And it's like, I'm just rebelling because I have the ability to rebel. Like if you lived in certain places, you can't rebel. So really, I respect them for using their right and privilege in this country to rebel and say strange things. Am I going to follow you? No. Am I going to advise anyone to follow you? No. I'm probably going to caution people from being around you because you're a little strange, right? If you want a dad bod because it's cozy, because you're not going to sleep on it most of the time. Like that person's going to carry it around and be sick most of the time. So probably not on the same wavelength, but you know, good for you, I guess. So yeah, generally, I mean, I think if it's what works for you, if you agree with it, go with it. Shaitan can give you something, and if it's good, you take it, right? Like that's the sunnah. Like we know that even Shaitan can come with the truth, and if he comes with the truth, it's the truth, right? So
What do you mean by that?
so there's a hadith, and I don't remember it completely, so I won't quote it. But the narration is that there was an instance in which the Prophet ﷺ was told about a situation, and Shaitan was involved. I don't know if he was advising the person or he had someone. I think there was someone who was very religious who would come across him on the way, and he said something to the person, and the person felt that Shaitan was trying to deceive them. So they went to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ told them that Shaitan had told them the truth, right? So they should take it, and they were like, but it came from Shaitan, right? And so the idea is that you believe that whatever comes from this thing that's corrupt is corrupt. But even in darkness, you can find a light, right? That's where it's most valuable. So like even Shaitan still recognizes Allah's oneness, Allah's authority, Allah's truth. He just knows that he's messed up and he's condemned. And so he's like, okay, I'm just going to pity, party, whatever, take everybody who I can take with me. So he's on this rampage, but he knows the truth. So even Shaitan can tell you the truth. So if Shaitan can tell me the truth, or Satan can tell me the truth, you can learn from anywhere. So if the women have a good idea, yeah, bro, like, let's do it. I feel like that should be the attitude that's just sensible, but Allah, God knows best.
That's got to be the clip that you clip out.
That's the
That's
clip.
going to be the viral clip.
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh my God.
It's like, Shaitan is right. What? Bid'ah.
All my imams, they say you're watching, I butchered the hadith. I know I butchered it. I just know I learned the principle from it. So, may Allah bless me and the people who taught me, because I got the moral. I didn't remember the hadith, but I got the moral of it.
Whoever the 40 people that watch this will correct you in the comments.
I'm half the views, bro.
Yeah.
I got something to say to him. Okay, so you said a girl wants a guy with abs. It's not really about the abs. Sometimes like it is about the abs. Like think about this. Don't your partner deserve to have a partner who's attractive? Yeah. Something good for them to look at and touch. I know I want that. So it's not fair for me to expect something of someone else that I'm not willing to do. So when it comes to fitness, obviously that's two ways. Like both men and women should be fit. And then the dynamic you want out of the relationship, right? So now I feel like I understand your question more. So I don't think I would bend my will to what a woman wants of me. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I feel like when you're fully authentically on your highest calling, like you said, there will be an instance when someone will make themselves available to you, and they will subtly let you know, like, I trust your leadership. I admire you in a lot of ways. So that person, for the most part, is not going to try to get you to bend to them. They're more likely to trust your leadership and follow their leadership in a healthy relationship, I would say, for the most part. And then also, not to say there's not suggestion that you can take, but I feel like what you were trying to ask me is like, especially like the new age dating that you see, it's like, I saw this one meme. It was like, this girl said, oh, what's your biggest turnoff? And it was like, oh, when a guy wears the color pink. And the guy swipes to his notes app, and he goes all the way down to like number 542, wears pink. And like, I just thought it was really funny because it's like you can never fully satisfy anybody, man or woman. So, no, you shouldn't immediately just, yes, you shouldn't immediately just bend to someone else's will. But I want what I want, and if they want what they want, there's no problem with it. If they want to be provided for, which is what we're instructed to do, then naturally they're going to want someone who's willing to take care of them. And that comes with a certain level of leadership quality, a certain level of dedication, traditional values that are attractive to them. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we want the opposite from them. And that can only happen if we're taking care of our side of the chemistry, right? I hope that makes sense.
Perfect. Yeah, I liked where you both went with that. What's your opinion on the MSAs and like I see a lot of like, I'm gonna just be honest, I see a lot of free mixing happening. So
Just got out of college.
yeah, I mean I was in college. I was not practicing when I was in college, so I didn't really attend the events. I would if I went to college again, but it's just like the one thing that turns me off is like the free mixing, because it's almost like, you're a Muslim and that's not a part of the religion. You can separate it. Even we see with PSAs, Arab Student Association, even though they don't consider themselves a Muslim organization, it's still, everyone's Muslim there.
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
A big chunk of them are.
A big chunk, yeah.
Majority.
But I was having a discussion with a brother yesterday, Asad, and he said that Pakistan was built on the Islamic, Islamic Republic of Pakistan.
Okay.
But I was also telling him, a lot of Pakistanis don't. They follow culture. So even in Pakistan, they'll free mix at weddings, at events. But I just noticed this, and not everybody will attend MSA for that reason. Not everyone will have the same intention, but it does happen, and we can't ignore it.
Yeah.
So how do we go about this? Like, how do we advise the youth without coming off as like, oh, you're extremist? Like,
Yeah. I mean, just for clarity for me, and maybe Asad can answer this when I see him. But I didn't think Pakistan was a choice of the Muslims that lived in what was India at the time. I thought this was like either the intervention of the British or some type of vehicle that was used to try to drive a wedge between like the Muslims and the Hindus, or to drive up this conflict. So I didn't think Pakistan came from like willing fully the Muslims said, okay, we want to segregate ourselves in the northern east corner of India. I didn't think that's how that happened. So even to claim it is like we wanted an Islamic Republic or something is a little strange, because it's like, no, this is not. If everyone, the goal of Islam is to be for humanity, it's for mankind, right? So everyone should be able to exist wherever they are, surrounded by whoever they're surrounded by, and still practice their faith, right? And that's what makes this country great to us as Muslims compared to any other country in the world, because we know here at least we can go outside openly, tell people our faith, and not be shot in the middle of the street for it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why we pride ourselves in being American. It's not because they're red, white, and blue. It's not because of the guns. It's just because I know when I come out here, I don't fear like being Muslim and running around, right? I don't have to have Darul Arqam or some like hidden house or place where I go to practice my faith, right? And that's what we like here. And we can go buy churches and turn them into mosques. Like, and people will see us do that, and nobody's like, no, like only in a few places, right? I went to Montgomery, Alabama. They had this issue. So it happens in some places where the community says, no way we're selling the church to these guys. Not going to have them here. Burns a cross on the lawn. Does all whatever, whatever. But even that, in some places, they would pull you out of your home and kill you. Like they would. So to just burn a cross on your lawn is like, it shows you how far gone, you know what I'm saying? The people, it's real. I mean, it's just, we're not in the places where that happens. So generally, I wanted to say to that, like, I mean, it's a different environment entirely. But as far as the issue, because I know I went kind of tangent, as far as the issue of MSAs, my big thing is understanding that we live in a society that is mixed. First and foremost, I'm going to start with that because we have to understand the context that we're in. If we say that somebody's leg is bleeding, but they have a hole in their head, you attend to their head before you attend to their leg, right? Even though if I said to you somebody's leg is bleeding, you think first thing to do is give them some type of medical procedure. We have a hole in the head, right? So we live in a society that is mixed. Like everywhere, I don't care if you go to the grocery store, workplace, you get on the bus,
Gym.
right? The gym, I don't care, man. The gym, stuck for Allah, billah, brother. That's a bit, brother. That one, that's a whole nother. Listen, that's another episode. But I use it. But listen, brother, because that's a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like how our brothers getting swole out here. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me, because what you lifting? You know what I'm saying? Crunch Fitness is not just for the brothers, Aki. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me know. So I'm just saying real talk. So like, let's be real. We live in a mixed society. After that, you have to recognize the upbringing of these people, right? They're brought up by people who usually didn't grow up in this society. So their understanding of the cultural context is different. So they might say in their society, men and women being near each other means that these people want to have a baby together. So, I'm exaggerating a bit, but just to show the difference in cultural understanding. Versus in our society, men and women standing next to each other means that they're talking to the same person and they want to be on the same side of the conversation, right? But culturally, they're transposing their cultural beliefs on top of what they're seeing in this society and raising their kids. So now their kids have a completely confused understanding of how to engage people and how to interact. And then we see a whole generation that can't socially interact between men and women because they weren't given the opportunity to learn how to do that. So I'm not saying that the MSAs are doing the right thing by free mixing when they don't need to. But I'm saying making it very clear and intentional that, guys, we want to learn the character, the etiquette of how to interact as brothers and sisters. And so we're going to do things together. And this is why we're doing it, so that we can learn this character. Because our Prophet ﷺ was loved by the women of the Ummah, right? And we know that. That's recorded in Hadith, right? That's recorded in at least in Sirah, right? We know that. He was loved by the women of the Ummah. How did he become loved if they never saw him, if they never heard from him? He would go visit some of them sometime and he would talk to them, right? So there's a way to be around and not be in that mode. You know what I'm saying? But you have to make that like the forefront of everybody's mind. Like, guys, listen, when we free mix, or even if we're in the same room and we're on separate sides, we're just reminding, and for the new people that have come, the reason that we separate is so that there's no jealousy between the brothers. Maybe somebody's looking at their wife in a way they don't appreciate. There's fighting. Or for the sisters, maybe some sisters engaging with their husband too much. That causes problems between our society. So we keep it separated so that everyone can get the benefit of what they came for without the internal conflict. You have to make that known at the beginning. Then you continue. Now it's not, even someone who's not Muslim can understand that. Like, that makes sense. Because I like Jill. Maybe Jill is my wife, right? But if Bo is talking to Jill too much, even if Bo's my brother, me and Bo about to fight because I can't watch that too much. You see, that jealousy is a good one for a man. You should have that. So it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like balancing all of these things. So I don't want to go jump and condemn the MSAs. I'm just saying to you, maybe there needs to be a little bit more guidance around how to have the conversation openly so that people understand why they're doing it so that they can correct the way that they do it. Because then they understand why we're doing it in the first place, all right? Sorry for saying so much, but yeah, bro.
That was beautiful.
Preach, bro.
Your thoughts? I mean, you just came out of college, so like,
Yeah, I just want to give flowers to Abdulrazak, man. You would just speak in my mind, bro. So, first question I want to ask everybody, like, what even is your definition of free mixing? Like, what does that even mean?
to me, it's when men and women are together, intermingling, like, having conversation. But we know, like, conversation can lead to anything.
Of
Like,
course.
you could be in
That's
a
why it has to be focused.
Yeah.
You have to make sure the conversation is for a purpose. You
Yeah.
can't just be like free flow.
Just socializing.
Right, because this is where the
Yeah.
fitna comes because you don't have an agenda. Just like idle hands.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that the Christians say about idle hands make a devil's playground. It's the same phrase they use. I don't care if you don't give things purpose, focus. Even men will crumble to nothing if you leave men without purpose, focus, calling. So everything has to
Yeah.
have intention.
Yep.
But that's why we were taught that intention precedes action, because everything we have to be more intentional. Like this is what we're failing with. So that's what I see. I mean, even in that situation, right? It's like if you're talking to a sister and your intention was just to come and talk to the sister, brother, you got to check your intention because that's where you went wrong before you even approached the sister. So the fitna we should be talking about is the intention. Like, brother, what is your intention when you walk into this place? It's not necessarily the outcome because that's the symptom, right? But what's causing the ailment is they don't have intention or they have bad.
But do you think that your desires could take over your intention?
Yeah, 100%. But that's the jihad we talk about.
Yeah.
That's the jihad of nafs, right? That's you fighting with yourself to make sure that your principles lead instead of your desires.
Because we know that in college you're gonna be in a class with a woman. You're gonna be a group project. Like,
Yeah.
how do you avoid that?
saying that.
Like, yeah.
So, okay. So I had to ask that question first because it's like this. I'll just get to the bottom line. All these brothers and sisters want to get married, but you come across someone of the opposite gender and you're like, I guess stuck for the law. I can't even like you just a dork. Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with speaking to someone of the opposite sex in public in not a barrier. What I was trying to say, a boundary
Yeah.
that is permissible. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So my question is, like, where are you gonna go to find a wife? The club or the masjid or the MSA? Like, if I had to pick, it'd probably be the last two, right? So, I did just come out of college. There are events where everyone is together, and it's just like Abdulrazak said, it falls on your own self-control. Like, if you're a member of the executive board and there's a girl on the executive board and you have to plan an event together and everyone is relying on you, got like 10,000 students coming to this event, naturally you're going to be speaking with a woman regularly. As long as you're not alone and you're in the company of other people in a public place and everyone's wearing clothes and you stay on.
Would you consider Zoom alone? Like if you got on a Zoom call one-on-one, would you consider it alone?
Honestly, that's a curveball. I was really just thinking about the physical aspect of it.
In person, yeah. But it's just like thinking about like I said, we're thinking about the context we're in.
Yeah.
This is the time we live in.
It could be interpreted like that, but I'd like to stick with like the physical aspect of it. So there definitely is just behavior that's just useless. Like, it's the behavior. It's like, what are you talking about? Are you just sitting around flirting? Like, flirting is the issue. But if it's just, I don't think there's an issue with a group of people sitting down and having a conversation that's going in a good direction. And also, if you want to get to know somebody and build attraction in the right way, what do you have to do? You have to be in public. You have to be seeing them constantly. You have to become familiar with them. How are you going to get familiar with them if you're thinking like, I'm just going to avoid every member of the opposite sex forever and magically God is going to drop Baba's number on my doorstep? And then, no, this is some magical fairy tale definition. It'll never happen. So get comfortable speaking to the opposite sex in the right way. And if you meet them in university in a Muslim setting, I don't think that's a problem. Again, it just goes back to what are you actually talking about? And are you overstaying your welcome when you're speaking to someone?
Get some, like, food and
Yeah, like, nah, like,
But you see how immediately, like, now you question again, brother, what is your intention here? Now you're going to. I mean, you see it again. It's the curve. You start with a good intention, and then you lose sight of that intention, and you forget what you came for.
It's the
And
desire.
then the desires start to take over because you weren't laser focused
And
on what you came
but,
for.
Like, my thing is, how much self control could you have when that is in our, that is in our, as a man, obviously we're told to avoid zina.
Sudanese
Yeah,
brother.
it's hot.
Sudanese brother.
Like-
Ghana, baby.
That's what happens when you go towards zina. Hellfire. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying.
Damn, bro, I'm over here chilling. I'm actually chilling.
But I'm just saying, like, girls talking to you, she gives you the eyes. I'm not
She
saying
lets you know that she wants more than
she wants more, and like you have to control it, right? You have to be like, okay, I'm gonna step away, but you can also give in to your desires.
Right.
You're right. It's about the self control.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
But I think the self control, it comes from a place like a hero's quest is motivated by some desire, right? Usually, like in animes or whatever shows you watch where they have a heroes. I've learned to appreciate animes. I was a person who was, when I was younger, I used to talk trash about them. Sorry to all the anime watchers. I shouldn't have talked trash. It's because I didn't understand that animes were like more meaningful than just regular cartoons. It was just because they just look like cartoons to the casual. You know what I'm saying? But what I've learned is that they always have a hero's arc in most of them, right? There's a hero. There's somebody who goes through some type of struggle, strife, and then they grow and then they overcome. Right. But it's in all the cartoons. So imagine your child is just watching heroes arcs all day, every day. Like they're gonna grow up to want to be a hero. Like that's the only thing they can want to be, because all they've seen is villains getting defeated, right? So that's the whole. So I could be a parent that allows anime, right? For most, except for the girls, they do the girls crazy. I don't know, but that's different. But all I'm saying is when you think about the hero has to have some type of motivation, or something tragic happens to them early on that like spurs their journey to this great self that everyone appreciates and recognizes. But we don't have to have such a big event, but we still have to have our why. Like we still have to know, like when we get up in the morning, like what am I out here for? Like what am I doing? If you wake up in some day and you don't really know what you're out here for, like that day's probably not going to be your best performing day. You're probably not going to do real well. You're going to struggle because you're not really focused. Like, so what is your why? I think the brothers just have to, we all have to as humans, but I think for a lot of us, we have to go through that. Like, maybe it's part of our daily Fajr routine, right? We get up for this prayer in the morning. It's quiet. Nothing's going on. Maybe thinking about, like, what I'm doing this for, or what I'm thankful, like going through this, like, just this period of just reflection on self, so that for the rest of the day, you can remind yourself of that. Like, if temptation comes to you, you say, okay, I'm trying to get to this certain place, or I'm trying to be a certain way, so I'm not going to do that, right? So I think even coming to talk to a person, if I come to do this podcast with you guys, I know I came to do this podcast. That was my intention. So I came and I asked, where's the podcast location? I came out here and I sat with you guys. We talked some, and then we kicked right in the pocket. We didn't waste any time there wasn't running around circles around the pond.
Yeah.
But that tends to happen with the sisters. Somehow we end up running circles around the pond and not filming the podcast. And it's like, dang it, brother, what happened? Like, what did I forget? Yeah. So I'm saying the energy started to shift you away. It started to draw you out of your focus. So we just got to prioritize focus, I think.
I do got one more thing to add.
yeah.
To all the Muslim brothers watching this, you will never get a wife if you don't shoot your shot. Ever.
Yeah.
You have to shoot the shot. There's nothing wrong with shooting a shot. And if you think that's free mixing, that's a problem. Because like let's just draw some scenario. You're a member in the community, you're fit, you're wealthy, mashallah. There's another brother who's, let's say he's on the same level as you. Both of you are leading out in the field, admired by a lot of women. But you think that, first of all, you think that just approaching a woman is haram, and you think that talking to a woman is haram. And the other brother's out here shooting a shot. Who's more likely statistically to land a wife?
But I think there's a way to go about it. Like,
There is a way.
if you're interested in a woman, I mean, I'm not the best person to give this advice, but like, you should go up to her. Yes, you can go up to her, but let her know your intention, and then as soon as you can, get the family involved,
Absolutely.
because then you earn her respect.
Yeah.
Because then she knows you're not playing games, you're not trying to date, have a haram relationship.
Right.
100%.
So to that point,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not negating the right way. What I'm saying is like,
Like the initial-
for you to even get to a point where you can do it the right way, you have to try in the first place. Like your first time approaching someone is not going to be picture perfect. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it worked. Awesome.
You gotta build up that.
Yeah, it'll be awkward the first time because maybe your dad never taught you. He's just like, go get married. My dad never taught me about like, hey, this is what you gonna do. You gonna do this and this. He just be asking me, it's like, so when you need a life partner, where's she at? And I'm like, so look, like, the first time it's probably gonna be awkward. Second time you might probably get embarrassed. Third time you might get in your feelings a little bit and in your head, and then you'll mess that up. You know. May God protect us from like veering too far away. But eventually, after enough iteration, you're gonna learn, just like by experience. You're like, okay, this is the right way to do it. And I would have never learned and would have never been able to do it the right way had I not at least put myself out there and tried. So that's what I'm saying. Not to say like go and yada 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 and yap all day and do things that aren't right. But I'm saying you have to be the initiator. And you're never going to succeed if you don't initiate. And you're never going to succeed most of the time unless you fail a few times.
I agree. That brings me to the last topic. It's a very deep question. So you just talked about failing. That's kind of like my motto for my channel now is fail, learn, grow, evolve.
Fail, learn,
Grow, evolve.
Okay.
Filga.
Yeah. I thought about just making it fail, learn, and evolve.
Okay.
Because that's FLE.
FLE gang.
That'd be good merch, right?
But for all the reasons y'all both just said.
Yeah. But sorry, I gotta read this question. What was the biggest failure in your life so far? What did you learn from it? How did you overcome it? And have you grown from it?
Okay.
It's deep, I know.
Yeah, this is not a question for a podcast. This is a question for a therapy session.
You don't have to go into details, but you can just say how you.
I just don't even know. That's like the first thing is identify it. Can you identify it is the first question before answering the question. Can I identify the biggest failure?
My love.
No, it's cool, man. Let me think. Man, you should hit the pause, give us like 5 minutes, think about it, come back. Biggest failure
You need to take a walk.
in my life. That's a hard one, bro.
First thing that comes to mind.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to maybe this is expectation failure from an expectation perspective. So my parents expected I did pretty good in school when I was coming up, and so my parents expected that I was gonna be like the richest man alive or second at least, right? That's what they would have accepted.
Inshallah.
And I mean, hey, if Allah sees it as best for me, because now I understand a little bit more about the nature of those things, and whatever takes me to Jannah is what I'm asking for, nothing else. But I think that when I went through school, I realized that I wasn't doing as well as I wanted to be doing, one, in like the engineering side of things, but also two, like I had passions that extended beyond those things. My definition was kind of broader than my career path. So it was a struggle for me to figure out how to contain myself in a career and then to go after that, right? But it wasn't as simple as like, oh, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, go be an engineer, go be a this, that. So I think maybe disappointed my parents by not coming out as an engineer, doctor, lawyer, one of those like archetypes. It's probably one of the biggest failures of my life to me, but only failure because I feel like I let my parents down. But I think that as time has gone on, they've seen me grow and take on other steps in life and progress in different ways, and they appreciate that. And so I think that they're still like happy with me. I don't think they would consider me a failure, but I think just based on their expectation, the feeling is like, oh, I disappointed you guys. Like I didn't live up to what you wanted of me, because they pour so much into you, right? You want to see that. So I would say maybe that's it. I don't know if there was a second part, like how did I deal with it? How did I overcome it?
Did you grow from it?
Yeah, I guess I kind of did that. Did I learn from it? Yes. What I learned is that you won't always live up to other people's expectation, even if you care about them and you love them a lot, and that's okay. Because in life, the number one thing is to please Allah, and the second thing is to be sincere and true to yourself in doing that. And so if you can please Allah, still be pleasing Allah, and still be doing things that are aligned with who you are as a person, individual, I say pursue those things. I say explain to your parents that your goal ultimately is to please Allah, because that's their goal too, or to please God, or to please, the one that they serve. That's their goal too, and just helping see that we both have the same vision. We just have a different roadmap for how to get there. I think that opens the door to that conversation. So that's what I've learned. Like, kind of talk to them about, hey mom, hey dad, like I still pray 5 times a day. I'm still fasting. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I just want to get to Allah by doing this, because I know if I go this way, I can achieve more and I can do better and this and that. But it has to be that get to Allah, right? If you come in and say, I want to go this way because I'm gonna be rich, like they're like, well, we knew you could be stable on this side, not rich. Like, we care about stability, right? And then you missed what they were coming to you about. But ultimately, all of it is to get to Allah. So I think that's like maybe a nugget you can take away. Like, when you talk to the people that you care about, think about what their highest priority or their highest goal is. And for most of us, our parents, is to get to Jannah, right? And then talk to them from that perspective. So that's probably what I've learned. And then, I mean, the way it's impacted me or influenced me, I think it's something I think about. I look at peers who've gone that more like traditional route, and I say, okay, I could have gone that route, maybe. But Allah is the one who plans. So I'm just living my life and experiencing it, and doing as best I can to navigate it as my truest self.
God's plan.
Are you not gonna answer the question?
No, I'm not. I have another question after this. I just forgot it, but yeah. What was that question? Shoot. I forgot it.
Biggest failure.
No, that was another question after that I was gonna ask.
okay.
But go ahead.
Escape that one. Oh, okay.
No, you gotta ask it. He's gotta answer it. Biggest failure.
I don't know.
You have
I don't like that question. It's like I failed a lot. But I wouldn't say I had one big ultimate failure. Like, I made the wrong investment into this firm and we lost $30 billion and now I'm on the street. Like, it's not like that drastic. It's just like small failures regularly. So again, with being Shmoney Mo, like, I've been in front of crowds and like gotten in my head, and maybe I wasn't honest about my true intentions or feelings. That's something I had to grow into. I feel like I'm very transparent now. Like, you know how I feel, I'll just tell you. But I wasn't always like that. So small failures over time make you learn, evolve. Yeah. So, but I'd say overarching, like a recurring theme in most of my failures would be that I either push too hard or I think too hard. Whether that's like emotionally or mentally or just like overcomplicating things. And I feel like that plays to my personality. Like, I really like to plan things out like 5-10 years in advance, and like the master plan and the, like a very structured, organized approach to attacking my goals, very logical brain thinking, but life is not 100% logical. So I'd say most of my failures, they stem from my challenge in grasping that. And especially just caring too much about what others think and letting that guide my decisions. I'd say I've grown the most in that area because now I know exactly what I want. And it's not what a lot of other people want, but that's okay. You should never just do what everyone else wants or what everyone else is doing. And there are a million different paths to success, paradise, financial freedom, etc. So it's all about finding your own unique path and just making sure that you are true to yourself. So I don't know if that answered the question. It kind of did. Yeah. No one big failure. May God protect us from some catastrophe like that.
The biggest failure is failing at the end, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. May God protect us from that.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking about it because you asked me how to answer it. For me, it's my biggest failure has always been my lack of three things really: lack of confidence, lack of discipline, lack of consistency. And I had a best friend who passed away. He was non-Muslim. He had it tatted on him. He lived it: discipline and consistency. So I try to remember that and just having confidence, and that's why I love basketball and sports so much, because I've gained so much confidence in basketball because I've stayed consistent with it. And the more you do something, more the confident you will get. And that's something I missed in a lot of my years of life, was the confidence that kept me failing things and kept me from opportunities. So I just try to remember that. But last question, because I don't know if this camera overheated. I'm not sure. I have the audio anyways.
Okay.
Good? Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Crazy. This thing.
Yeah.
That's a trooper.
So, God forbid you were to die tonight. God forbid. We want you to live a long life,
So,
both of you,
Inshallah.
all three of us. I mean, but God forbid it happen. Whatever Allah has written for you. What would be your final piece of advice to the world? Just one thing. You go first because you went.
I gotta be careful about what I say, bro. Everlasting piece of advice from me. Talk to people all the time. Smile at people. Talk to strangers. Don't be shy. Just like be social, because the direction everything's headed, everyone's really just on their own individualist. I think if we just talk to people more, it would be better off in the long run. Simple as that. Just talk to people and make them smile.
Great advice. I noticed you in the Daves. You were just kind of in your own world.
I always am.
Like I was just sitting there, like, watching people. Like I think when we all sit down in public, we just look at people. I just noticed you did not care about anybody. So I'm gonna try to take that.
Yeah. I talked to that brother Chris.
Yeah, Chris, the
Guys,
employee. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, talk to everybody, man. We were sitting there trying to figure out how much money Dave's Hot Chicken was making in 1 month. Our estimate is $180,000 a month profit after expenses.
store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Per store. Yeah. Well, depends on the area, but I guess per store.
They pick pretty trendy areas. They pick
Yeah.
pretty good.
Plaza Midwood, you
Right,
said, yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You have your answer?
It was one. The question was one advice I would give if I had the opportunity to give one advice to the world before I die, based on what I know now. And I'll preface it because I give khutbahs, so here I go with another one. I'll preface it by saying that the word kufar, I heard from one of our imams, the word kufar is a word that, and it's similar in nature for a reason to the word cover, because it translates to hide or to conceal something. Right, so the word cover in English comes from the word kufar, and the word kufar is what we recognize as the word that means disbeliever or one who's not a believer in the oneness of God and prophethood. And when you think about the disbeliever based on the description that Allah gives of them in the Quran, or that God gives of them in the Revelation, we see a lot of times that the disbeliever is parallel to one who is ungrateful or who has a lot of ingratitude, right? Who's just not grateful. Shaitan was created, or Satan was created. He was given life. He was saved, according to the story that we have of his origin, during a big war, and brought up to stay in the heavens and taken care of, and good. And so much was given to him, right? But when it came time for him to do what was asked of him, his arrogance shone through more than anything else, and so he was ungrateful. So he was the first of those who were ungrateful, and so then he became a disbeliever, right? And then everyone who follows him in gratitude becomes a disbeliever. So my message to the world would be about gratitude and about staying on the grateful side of things and not the ungrateful side of things. And the best way to be grateful is to give. The best way to be grateful is to put to use. So whatever God has given you in terms of talents, abilities, resources, access, connections, networks, use it all before you go. That's your mission. Use it all before you go. Tap into it all. Leverage it all before you go. Because generosity is what separates, in the heart anyway, a believer from a disbeliever. And in prayer, we know connecting to God is what separates, in the spiritual realm, a believer from a disbeliever. So be generous. Be overly generous. Give more than you have to give. And it'll come back to you. Because God is the one who provides. He created everything. Everything is in this infinite web that he controls. He knows how to shift things along that web to get them to you whenever you need them. So don't worry about scarcity, poverty. The government likes to use scarcity and burns food, throws away food, does all kinds of crazy stuff to manufacture scarcity, so we feel like there's not enough, so we have to compete for resources. We don't have to do that. God didn't create the world like that. You plant one seed and then 50 come from it that you can replant and get another 50 on each of those. Like, that's the best investment I've ever heard of in my life. Like, God already gave us that system. We just live in a system where people use fear and scarcity to scare us. That's devil tactics. There's no such thing. There's an abundance. Everything is out here and more than it needs to be. Brothers can't get married, but there's so many sisters out here, so many women walking around. All right. There's more than we need out here. So be grateful. Spend everything you have, use everything you have, so that you've lived a grateful life. That would be my advice.
Beautiful, beautiful. Snaps, claps. Thank you guys. That's perfect. It's an hour. But yeah, I appreciate you, Razak.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Thanks for
Shmani Mo, Jazzy.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks
of
for the
course.
great questions.
Yeah.
the love, bro. It's a pleasure.
Hopefully, a lot of people can take the gems you guys gave, and I'll have you back on, inshallah. If you know anybody that wants to be on a pod, I'm having trouble finding guests, and I don't really want to do the, Zoom podcast with like people. I kind of just want to. I might start traveling soon, if I can find people.
Maybe do a series, bro. Like,
Yeah.
maybe do a day in the life of professional series and interview people
Yeah,
based on then you have like the categories of people that you need, and we just
Okay.
go through our contacts and kind of
Yeah.
find people who live that life,
right.
and it gives you more content to be able to put out until you
Yeah.
figure out what your next big thing is, something like that.
Yeah, inshallah, brother. Any last words?
We'll be back.
Back.
We gotta
Yeah. Part two with the trio.
man, I want to feature in we're gonna do what is that game called where you hit the thing on the wall? Use the tennis racket and you hit the, I don't know if it's a ball or what, they hit it on the wall a lot.
Not sure.
You never seen this?
On the wall?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like you play in team.
It's in the gym.
Right.
I don't know what it's called.
Pickleball.
Maybe.
That's
No,
not
not
pickleball, it's not
pickleball.
pickleball.
No, not pickleball. I would have said yes if you weren't here. Yeah, not pickleball.
Okay, let's figure it out before we close.
But anyway, I want us to be doing that in our next video while we talk. So
While we talk,
I don't know.
I gotta
where
get
we're gonna
another
do that at.
wireless
Yeah, so
mic.
here we go.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the brother on it. It's on
Yeah.
camera. I don't know where we're gonna be at. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I want us to be doing that game while we talk, so it's a little bit more engaging.
Squash. Racquetball.
You just gave me an idea.
Racquetball. That's what I want us to do next.
You just gave me a brilliant idea,
That's the next time you see the three. Unless the brother changes the game, you heard me. Racquetball here first. Next time we get
bro.
together,
You
so-
just gave me a brilliant idea. I'm not gonna tell people on camera because they're gonna take it.
Okay.
I'm gonna-
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
I just saw it. Had it.